everyone. So just a notice, so if this falls out, if it's black, just tell me please if you don't notice. So yeah, so today I'm going to talk about how rollups are able to actually be gasless, meaning you can use a blockchain network without paying any gas. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about status network. That's where I work as a software engineer. Thank you for the introduction. So I'm not going to stay on this slide any longer, and I'm going to go straight into the topic. So what do I want to talk about? So first of all, I want to cover basics. I'm not sure how many people here are even familiar with the notion of gas, or even notice it for that matter. It's not as expensive as it used to be. Is it even possible to remove it completely? And to introduce you to something that we call karma. So, can I just see someone raise their hands if you know what gas is on Ethereum specifically? Oh, cool, very, very cool, amazing. So, this might be a bit boring section. So, I know you guys, I didn't mean to talk about central heating, so I'm going to talk about gas, the unit on chain. You already know this. It's this unit that measures how much a transaction is going to use and how much we should pay the validator for executing our transaction. So let's see if it's something that we truly need, or is it some inconvenience that we over-engineered in order to have it. So I want to introduce you to someone. So this is our little friend Pajic. Pajic is trying to make a transaction to Ethereum network here. So he selects how much gas he wants to use, he sends a transaction, he pays some money in order to be executed, we wait, right? Ethereum is kind of slow compared to other chains. And then our network validates, we have confirmations, and Pajic is happy, right? So I just want to ask a question here. What would happen if Pajic decided to not pay for it, and if we had millions of Pajics trying to run their own transactions without anybody paying for them? Very soon we have our network overwhelmed, not being able to take any new transactions and not even being able to execute the already sent ones. So that's something we call a DOS attack. So we now have a clear notion that it's not just an inconvenience that we have to buckle up with. It's something that truly needs to be there at the moment. Before we move, I want just to shortly introduce you to rollups. We all probably already know about rollups, but I just want to ensure you if there's any key difference from user perspective when sending gas. So all the rollups that are trying to keep their Ethereum equivalency, they pretty much operate the same way. You pay some gas, your transaction runs there. Yeah, after it's going to get committed to the L1, but that's not something that you're concerned with as a user. It's fast, much faster than on the L1, and Pajic is happy, but he still paid for gas, right? And let's see if he tried to send a gas transaction. Because a rollup is most rollups currently are centralized networks, they would be even more prone to DOS attacks. They would be able to be attacked much greatly. So how do we go from this to this? Right? How can we make a sequencer that's able to accept transactions for free without getting killed? One more thing about rollups before we move. I want you to remember that, as we said previously, L2 client is pretty much, almost rollup is pretty much similar to L1 client, and all ETH is going to sit on this validating bridge. So for those who don't know, every rollup has something we call an ETH bridge, to which you have to enter to get your funds on the network. You might use some alternatives like Jumper Bridge, Layer 0, or whatever, but behind the scenes, they're all using this validating bridge, which is holding all of the funds of the network there. So, is it able to be removed? Does anybody here think that dentals are cool? I do, you know. Hopefully you too. But just to give you context, to step back and give you context about who we are Institute of Free Technology. We are a company that started way back in 2017 with the largest ICO at that time. And throughout the years, we started as a status messaging app, and throughout the years we expanded our products to involve a fully end-to-end decentralized tech stack. Having Baku, which is our P2P communications protocol, Codex, our P2P storage protocol, Nimbus, which is the third largest ETH2 client, Keycard, our hardware wallet. But the thing I want to talk about here quickly is Status. So Status, the messenger, is one and only truly decentralized and privacy-preserving chatting app. Now, in such an application, where there's no central server to relay the chats, where every device is talking with each other, you need a way to prevent spam inside the network. And that's for what we built RLM, or something we call rate limiting nullifiers. So RLM is our ZK technology that users should use secret sharing to incentivize people to not spam the network, and if they do, they get punished for it. And it's currently the only way to have proper messaging in a decentralized network. So, what does that exactly mean? In RLM, each user has their own key that's on-chain in a contract, and they have some stake tied to it. In a case where you start spamming the network, your key gets revealed and people are able to claim your funds off of the contract. And also you're going to incur social punishment, because you're going to be on denial lists, you're going to have higher future costs, and similar. So what's happening here? Let's put it into context of a blockchain network. You, instead of sending money, you're sending a cryptographic proof to validate your transaction. Right. So this is the first ever appliance of RLM on a blockchain scale, and its replacement of DOS protection via economic incentives to cryptographic ones. And for our devs here, just quickly, your account, when it's making a request to RPC, our RPC is also making a request to our RLM brewer, which generates this proof, which is going to give you access to send your transaction. And later sequencer is going to do a bunch of checks, and if the detects spam, your application gets slashed. But if everything is fine, congratulations, you just made a free transaction on a blockchain. Right? But yeah, all the time I'm yapping about DOS protection, right? But gas isn't only for DOS protection. We know, like, probably most of the people here, they've entered the industry through mining, and mining exists because of gas. So there's also operational fees to actually run the network, and that's even more important in a rollup where most of them are run by companies and nobody has infinite funding. I have something to break to you. Rollup fees are a race to zero. So currently most chains are not profitable. So if you look at statistics, and these are not net profits, these are like costs of all of these chains. They spend a lot of money to post your data, to run the provers, to run the network, and not much is left for you. Also lots of blocks, and you'll see on this graph here, are actually filled with spam. Just check Unichain, for example, where I think like almost 70% of the gas is actually used by bots trying to game the system. And also gaming the low gas fees. To go into more detail, as I mentioned earlier, you'll see, so that's the total cost, and if you subtract call data, blobs, compute, and overhead, you don't have too much left. So what do rollups do? How are they able to actually pay their wages, to pay for the operations and everything? So behind the scenes, a rollup has to pay for these three things. They have to pay for data availability, meaning where they post their data on Ethereum. They have to pay settlement fees, so every time they post a proof, they post a blob, they run a transaction on the L1. They have to pay the execution for the sequencer, the actual computer running the rollup, and in case of ZK rollups, you also have the forward fee, which is currently subsidized, which you won't see, but there's a prover cost, and lots of provers are actually very expensive thing to run. And when you have those, rollups also charge these additional fees, which are not really mandatory, but that's how they keep afloat. They charge you fees to protect themselves from spam protection. So even if it goes if gas cost is low, they still pay some overhead so that you don't actually spam the network. They also actually charge you profit fees, which is basically money that goes into like net profit for them completely. And in the end, you as a user are actually paying overhead gas, which you in reality wouldn't have to pay for. Especially now, since profit line charging was introduced last year in May, and this year in May we had Vectra, and you'll see gas fees actually going, very low. So now most of the fees that you're paying are actually overhead that the companies need to be able to run themselves. And yeah, you see lots of rollups popping up. They're mostly optimized for keeping funds in the company, and most of the time there's not a way for them to silo the profit of the actual ecosystem. I want to show you this status network. If you send a transaction, which you can do right now, we have our testing running. You can actually set your gas price to be 0. You can send a fully gas-free transaction. The point of status network is also that we're able to keep the network running while keeping us free, and also silo these funds into the ecosystem. But if it's 0, what profit are we getting? There's other ways for a rollup to actually be getting funds running it. One is a native yield bearing bridge, which is a topic you can expect to see much more in the industry in general in the upcoming years. Native app revenue sharing. Rollups are also going to be going in the direction of forming their own ecosystems with unique apps for which you're actually going there, and those apps will also be the ones responsible for funding the network. And if somebody wants to show there the dog in the party. Like, of course, they can cash out and they can pay more and get their transaction validated faster than anybody else. So, we solved two problems. So, why RLN? We solved DDoS protection, and with the ETH Belgrade bridge, with a proper app ecosystem, we found a way how to fund the network, right? But we still need to manage it somehow. So I wanted to introduce you to something that we call Karma. Karma is our native enshrined reputation system. So it's used for gas steering, network-wide secret protection, and something we call public funding for allocation. So, just to get back, so we have all of these things, right? You have a way to get your transaction to the network, but there still needs to be a way for the network to decide if the transaction is not spam, is spam, and is able to get it. And that's exactly through your reputation system. So the more you use the network, the more you do things, the higher your karma gets, and that means that you're actually the user of the network and you're entitled to send more transactions on it. Right? Like in anything in life, when you just join, you're able to just do a few things, and as you progress, as you become more committed into the ecosystem, you're able to do more. You're actually rewarded for it. So, to give you an example, we have Pajic here again, but now he's not sending money. He's sending his RLN cryptographic proof. It does 0, and he has lots of karma. Right? He's tier level 3. Cool. The network says, awesome, your tier level says you're able to do this transaction. Amazing. But if he just joined the network and if his karma tier was 0, he just wouldn't be able to do anything. The network would be like, who are you? I don't know you. You might be a bot. Your transaction is not going to be included. So you have now effectively prevented bots, you've prevented fake addresses, you have kind of a civil protection. Now, I need help with an experiment, so please just follow my lead, right? Thank you. So, what did we just do? We just did some coordination here, right? Someone took the lead, and everybody else followed. We were able to coordinate properly without too much explanation, details, etc. So in any system, there needs to be a way to coordinate things. Here we have something called public funding pool. Because a network is not only the gas, you also need ecosystem on top of it, which is also able to run sustainably. Public funding pool is place which gets percentage of all of the profits from that I mentioned before, and karma holders, or in other words, users of the network, all of them are able to actually vote where the network should be focusing on. So which exact apps, which liquidity pools, and etc. So how do we acquire karma? As I mentioned quickly, so by just using the network, right? The more you're using the network, that means you're the productive user of the network. That means you should have even more access to it. By providing liquidity. Why? Because your liquidity is the one that's also driving new applications. So it makes sense for you also to be able to gain more power in the network. Or staking S&T, that's the token that I mentioned earlier. Like patience gives you power, and in this case, it also gives you more usage of the network. Thank you. That's pretty much what Any questions?
Yeah,
Yep.
I have one. From which sources will you get it?
Okay, so we'll be actually the first users of Lido V3. In the first stage, we'll be putting only ETH funds to staking, and that's going to be funneled in the public funding pool and into operational costs.
Only native ETH?
Sorry?
Only native ETH or something else?
I didn't get it, sorry.
Okay, one source actually, no? One revenue source.
Yeah. In the first stage, yeah. If you're talking about the yield-bearing bridge, that yeah. Currently, on the first stage, we're gonna be using only Lido. Later, we'll be expanding to other sources, market pool, etc. And we have a plan to also actually put our stable coins yield as well. Yep.
Could you tell more about rotation from bots? For example, if I create like 1,000 bots,
Yep.
then we'll send one message in a day, maybe.
Sure, but you need to get your first karma, right, on each of those bots. And there's
And who can give me karma? Who can give me karma from bots?
So, we have multiple ways to get on board, right? So, one way is to simply be a liquidity provider, right? You put your money, that's making profit for the network. It's also paying for your gas, right? That's fine. But there's also other ways. So this is the first network which you can start using without having any money, right? Through app providers, through our own, you can connect your social IDs, you can connect your proof that we can verify to get you started, to give you your first karma, which gets started. Right? Yeah. And that's like one part of Status Center. Also the apps in the ecosystem, they'll also be getting their part of karma, and they'll be able to decide who of which their users can also be part of it, right? Yep.
What are the main use cases of the chain? So many ones will choose some.
Yeah.
Focus on something specific, some are more kind of general purpose.
Yeah. So we started out as an execution layer for all of these projects that we have in our company, right? And Status being a messaging app, initially our focus was on social and gaming, and that's still a strong focus, right? But yeah, we're also in parallel making a strong DeFi ecosystem in partnership with Aragon, and you'll see more to come. So social, gaming, and plus DeFi. That's the main use case.
One more?
Yep. So,
Can the apps themselves like sponsor transactions for the users?
Exactly. So that's what I was mentioning here earlier. So apps in the ecosystem, they're also able to get their allocation of karma, which they're able to give out to their own users. Yeah. And the thing with karma, I just want to make this comparison. So just to compare it with their account abstraction sponsoring. So here you have a natively enshrined reputation system. So you as an application don't have to worry about that at all, and don't have to think about it. It's on network level, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.